Hey guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going to continue on the new little series that I started in a previous video where I kind of just talk about certain artists I like and why I kind of like them and why I kind of just listen to them. And if you, again, like a lot of these artists are already pretty popular, but if you haven't heard of them, this is kind of a video kind of like possibly why you should maybe check them out. But pretty much why I like Bones is because similar reasons why I like Xavier Wolf is obviously he makes good music, but you could also tell that he really cares about like his work and his work, like his work ethic is really like good when it comes to working on music projects. You could tell that he actually puts in the time, doesn't take shortcuts and shit, which is again a thing that like a lot of artists do, but you could again tell when an artist does take shortcuts and stuff when it comes to when they're working on a project and shit. I do like how Bones will stick to with a style, but again, he's not afraid to experiment with like new things with his music. Like he'll add in like new styles and kind of change shit up every like kind of album he drops. Again, like he'll stick to a similar style. Like he will know, okay, this style sounds good and people like this, I'm gonna use this in certain songs. But again, not every song is the exact same. Again, there's a good amount of variety in his music. Again, I don't know too much about Bones' come up, and again, it's kind of a thing that he kind of keeps more private to himself. You could probably dig through there and find some shit, but again, it's not really out there too much. But again, he had kind of a similar upbringing like Xavier Wolf. Music-wise, again, they probably had completely different lives, but music-wise, the come-ups were pretty similar. They were dropping shit on SoundCloud, and they also were making music together. Probably not right out of the fucking gate, obviously, but at some point they met up, started making music and shit. But again, they'll come up with similar to being these people who kind of figured out the blueprint on how to be successful on SoundCloud and actually fucking get to a point where you can make money from what they were doing. And one thing that's really cool is like they could have just said fuck it and signed to like any label they pretty much wanted to. Like maybe not every label was like, hey, sign to us, but again, there were big labels and there probably are still big labels trying to sign them, and again, they're kind of sticking to, hey, we're doing our own thing. And in a way, like, I don't think like, oh, if an artist signs to a label, they're automatically a bad artist or anything like that, because sometimes it's good for an artist to sign to a label. Like sometimes the labels are actually trying to help out the artist, and the artist needs that help to further their career. But sometimes some labels and most labels will kind of just try and fuck over the artist at the end of the day, which is kind of the sad reality. And it's kind of cool that they were kind of aware of that and kind of were like, hey, we're gonna do our own thing. Like, we already started fucking making beats and fucking recording audio and doing all of our music video stuff on our own from the fucking get-go. Might as well just continue that, because that's what got us popular. You know, if that kind of makes sense. Like, they just kind of stuck to the formula that, like, hey, this worked from day one. And it's like they, with that formula, they did kind of obviously change it over time, because you can't just use the same formula, but they just added to it in a way, you know? They didn't just completely be like, oh, fuck that, let's just sign to a label and then we'll be chilling, you know? They're like, okay, let's just stick to our original idea, our plans and shit. And I feel like, again, when it comes to, like, music stuff and just his career and everything, and you could say the same thing about Xavier Wolf again. This video we're focusing on Bones, but you could tell that, like, he actually thinks about his fucking career. He thinks, like, okay, what am I gonna be in a year or 5 years, you know? Like, he's not gonna, obviously, no human's gonna overthink it and be like, oh, this is what I'm gonna exactly be, but he's, like, you know, he has an idea of what he wants to do, and that's a good thing, because with a lot of artists, you kind of see them they like will blow up, and then they will have this period of where they're kind of floating and kind of figuring shit out, and it kind of happens with everyone. Whether like with anything, this doesn't even could fucking apply to music. This could apply to like directing movies or whatever. But kind of where they're kind of getting this like popularity. They're like, okay, well, we're finally getting shit walking. They're kind of like floating, figuring shit out, and like, well, should I sign to this label? Should I continue what I'm doing? What should I change? What should I add? What should I remove? And like, I feel like when it comes to that kind of stuff, he was really smart and really thought about that shit. Cause sometimes some artists would be like, they would get popular, and then there would be this label and like, hey, we'll offer you this YXZ amount of money, and it might be a lot of money to them at the time, and they might think it's a good ass deal, but then down the road, 5 years, that money's either gone or like it's not as much as it was originally, or it's just not what they think their music was worth. You know, their music's probably worth way more, and then they just kind of got fucked over by the label at the end of the day. Because the thing is, with every label, with any artist, yeah, they're gonna try to help benefit the artist if they're a good label, but at the end of the day, they're there to make money. No matter what, they're gonna make money. No matter like if you're gonna have a good deal or not with a label, they're gonna somehow be able to get a profit out of it. So theoretically, I don't know how everything and shit works with a label, but theoretically, they're gonna kind of screw you over a little. But no matter what, it just kind of depends, because some labels, again, they'll be like, they're gonna like take out money and shit from you, but again, they're gonna help you out with certain things you really need. And while then some labels might be a little shitty, and it's kind of, I'm happy that Bones kind of realized that and just might have just said, fuck it, I don't want to take that risk, and just did, again, like I've been rambling about, did his own fucking thing. And I feel like in a way it's kind of inspired a lot of artists to be like, okay, you don't need exactly a label to be fucking a successful artist. Again, there's a lot of artists who kind of took this kind of blueprint and was like, hey, I'm just gonna try and make my own fan base, maybe sign to a small label or something like that, or create their own label, or just stick completely independent. And I feel like that's just kind of a cool thing, because again, without Bones and people like Xavier Wolf and shit to show, hey, these things are possible, that I feel like there would be less people going out and actually doing it. You know, there would be more people just signing to labels and just getting fucked over by them, instead of being like, fuck it, I'm gonna stick to just being independent and making music I like, dropping shit when I want, and all of that. And that's also another thing, is any money they made went directly into their pocket, because they didn't have any labels or really anything in the way. Like, they probably had to pay off, like, merch fees and shit like that. But, like, again, small little fees like that instead of big things where, like, labels would be like, okay, well, you sold this amount of shorts, you get this percentage of the money, we get this percentage. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. And I just, again, this could apply to other things. I said a little bit earlier, apply to other things, not just in music. Like, if you want to do fucking YouTube or some shit, you don't need to be in some big YouTube group, or you don't need a fucking, like, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, not even with YouTube, it could be with art. You don't need, you just need to go out and fucking do it. That's simply, like, what I really like about them, like, the little message behind the like, it's weird because, like, a lot of people might, like, see this, might not see this, but there's, like, a little message behind the career, and the, like, whole message is, like, dude, if you want to achieve something, just fucking do it. Like, yeah, like, having a label pushing your music out and giving you advertisement and all of that will obviously help boost your career, but at the end of the day, that shit's really only in your own hands. Like, you could take that route, but again, you could advertise your shit all you want, but if, say, you're not making music or not making good enough music, no one's gonna fuck with your shit, you know what I'm saying? It just all comes down to are you willing to do it? Are you willing to approve? And are you willing to like kind of learn from your mistakes, learn what you should add, what you should remove, kind of figuring out in a way. I feel like everyone has to figure out their own blueprint, but kind of looking at the people before you who were already successful, kind of looking at their blueprint and kind of not really copying it. Some people will do this, and I don't think it really is good, because again, if you copy someone's blueprint to success, your success won't last long. Everyone will just see you almost as kind of a copy in a way, I feel like. But kind of see someone else's blueprint and then kind of be like, hey, I'm going to adjust this into, well, how this will work for me. And we strayed off into a lot of topics in this video, but again, I feel like when listening to Bones or Seth's Hollow Water Boys or even Hollow Squad, Xavier Wolf and them, you could learn a lot from like their career or just kind of like how they talk in interviews and shit, and just kind of like how they kind of articulate through shit, and pretty much it's crazy because it's just so creativity. It's crazy how creative a human can be, and truly, like, they might not say they're the most creative people, but I feel like I wouldn't want to say they're the most creative, but they're one of the most creative, because to legit go on a platform that, like, is a 50-50 of it even actually being there in 10 years, and making it on there, and then also being like, fuck it, and just being like, okay, we have some popularity, let's ride it, and let's just do this on our own, and not take the normal route, which most people would do, which is sign to a label, yada yada, and just kind of just stick to their own shit, and stick truly to the roots is a thing you don't see with a lot of artists, and that's definitely why I think you should definitely, if you haven't listened to these artists before, like Bones, you should definitely check them out. Definitely check out my last video where I talk about Xavier Wolf, but pretty much, definitely with Bones, like, it's fucking Bones. Check him out. He has good-ass music. There's a variety of shit. It's mostly, yeah, obviously rap and shit like that, but it's like different flows, different beats. He experiments a lot with his music, I would admit. Not like hella where you're just like, what the fuck, but it's enough to where you're like, okay, this is refreshing, and not every song sounds the same. There's some songs where they sound a bit similar, and you're like, okay, I see what you're doing, you saw that this style was working, you used it on this song, you know? But yeah, pretty much, besides, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and yeah, I'll see you guys all in the next video. And pretty much I'm gonna be continuing the series. Next video with the series, we're probably gonna not talk about anyone from Sash or Hollow Squad for a bit, at least. In the next video, I want to talk about an artist that's not too related to Bones or Xavier Wolf, because not saying there's any other, like, I don't fuck with Eddie Baker or any of them. I like Eddie Baker and all of them, they're fucking good ass artists, but I don't want to just be hella sus shit at first. We gotta save a little bit of the gems, a little bit of the good shit for later on, you know what I mean? But besides that, I hope you guys liked today's video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye, guys.
My kicks and I break the rim when I do this shit.